So Kyle Shanahan just talked to the media, and it's just buzzing through Twitter. I know all Niners fans want to hear about it. Is the fact that the most controversial topic amongst the Niners fans is that it's kind of now a foregone conclusion that I think people expect Jimmy Garoppolo and the Niners to part ways. I think most people are thinking that way. But the thing is that Kyle Shanahan just talked to the media, and he said that he expects Jimmy Garoppolo to be their starting quarterback next year. He expects him to get better and be ready and be healthy next year. And he thinks his contract is mid-level and just the price that quarterbacks usually go. So what are your guys' thoughts on it? Do you think this was just coach speak? Do you think Kyle Shanahan was serious? Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo will be the quarterback of the 49ers next year?
You can go first, Nolan, if you want.
Okay, yeah. The way I see it is, after hearing that statement and you explain it, it seems like there could be a lot of similarities. And I know we got some banter with the Bears, but I am a Bears fan, and there was some quarterback situations with Mitchell Trubisky, who did not have that good of a season. But before the season, they still said he was like going to be a quarterback going forward. Obviously, there was more competition in that because no one's been brought in with the Niners. But I think with this statement, Shanahan's saying that he's going to put all the power in Jimmy Garoppolo's hands to win the starting role, but he's also not saying that they're not going to bring in someone else. So I think that Garoppolo's going to have the chance to prove himself, but I think that if I were still the Niners GM or coach, I'd still bring in someone to make a healthy competition to see who the true starter could be next year.
So I'm with you on bringing in someone, whether that's a mid-round draft pick, someone in free agency. There's like the type of quarterbacks that always get recycled. There's like your Fitzpatricks, your Glennon, like just someone to bring in some other competition. They did sign Rosen, actually. I thought that was like, might as well just take a flyer on him. You never know what he could become. For me, I feel like the Niners should stick with Jimmy. I think a lot of people are, really short-minded in the fact that the man just took them to the Super Bowl last year. Not saying that he carried the team by any stretch of the imagination, because he didn't. They relied on amazing defense and a good run game. But this year the team was constantly injured. I don't think it's a fair shot to say, he's the reason or he's the problem this season went bad. I think he might be part of the problem. I just think Jimmy's a quarterback who could win a Super Bowl. They're one Sanders throw away from winning, and this whole narrative would not exist. It simply would not exist. I think they're going to roll with him, and I think the comments by Shanahan is, could you imagine if he said, with a game still to play, Garoppolo is not the quarterback? Like, what message does that send through the organization? Obviously, he's going to say that. He's not going to be like, no, I'm drafting someone in the first round. You wouldn't want to show your hand, first off. And how do you think the players would feel, right? Like, anyone could be traded at any moment in time. So I think they're going to stick with him. I do think they'll bring someone in to, maybe light a fire under him, or like say like, you're not irreplaceable. But I don't know. What's your thoughts on it, Vish?
So I actually don't believe like Kyle Shanahan is lying or coach speak per se. I think he fundamentally has not evaluated their quarterback situation and sat back. I mean, he's missed a season. If he's thinking about what he's going to do with this quarterback next year, then it's a problem. So I don't think he sat back, watched, and got in a good grasp of how certain am I that Jimmy Garoppolo can be your starter and all of those things. We know that he has his reservations about Jimmy Garoppolo, but we also know that Jimmy Garoppolo is a pretty solid quarterback. The way I see it is that the only problem with Jimmy Garoppolo is the money situation, because the cap is going down. I think the Niners have a lot of different people they need to re-sign. And so getting a quarterback that's maybe a little cheaper on a rookie deal might be a bit more prudent for them. But I think the bottom line is that the Niners are going to be open to upgrade the position. They were open to upgrade it last year. They considered Tom Brady. They ultimately decided Jimmy Garoppolo was the best option. I think they're going to once again keep their options open because they have that kind of leverage with Jimmy's contract. Let's say if my favorite quarterback that I always throw around in this conversation, if Matthew Stafford, the opportunity to get him is presented, I think they would probably look to get Matthew Stafford and move off of Jimmy. But if they're stuck in a situation where you're drafted 15th, you're not fully convinced based on the studying you've done on the quarterbacks you think that'll be available, you don't have the best option to trade up and get a Zach Wilson, a Trevor Lawrence, a Justin Fields, or the guys who most people are convicted in that and sure that they're going to go in the top 5, then you're left in a situation where you might have to bring Jimmy Garoppolo back because he gives you the best chance to win of the guys available. So he has to keep his options open this way. He can't say Jimmy Garoppolo is gone. He can't give a definitive opinion on it. There's still a lot of variables that need to fall into place, and I think he just gave the adequate answer based on that. I don't think there's much else to read into it.
I think the one thing with Stafford that will be like a barrier to getting him is the new regime. Do they want to have that quarterback position already settled? Because that's usually the biggest question mark of any team, right? Is like, who's going to be our quarterback? And for a new GM, maybe in coach, right? Because they fired Quinn and they fired Patricia. Do they want to just say, hey, we already have this position set, and do we want to keep it that way? Or do we want to go off of it and pick our own guy? So I think that'll be a potential issue, like in actually acquiring him. And also, what are they going to have to trade for him? They've already traded a lot of picks away to like get players to sort of win now, right? They traded for Emmanuel Sanders. They've made other trades for middle. Yeah, to like they've traded picks to acquire the talent and kind of push. And they kind of hurt them last year when they, couldn't really bolster their roster because they'd already traded a lot of the picks away, right?
Yeah, so Nolan, do you think Stafford would be prudent? Do you think the Lions move off of Stafford? Because obviously he's kind of the guy that comes into conversation when we're talking about a veteran quarterback for Jimmy. Like, the draft is an option. Where would you go with that?
So I would say that off the bat, I think if Stafford was able to go to the Niners and they could make that happen, their offense would get a ton better. I don't really think there's honestly much questions around that, but I do think depending on the trade package or the Lions' willingness to get rid of Stafford, the Niners might have to get rid of some defensive players because they have a pretty elite defense and they're very, very well coached. So it would just be kind of a balancing act where the Niners, I think they definitely would get better. And I think Stafford would be a beast on the Niners team with how they run the ball and the offensive threats they have with the receivers and Kittle. And I think it would be a no-brainer on the offensive end. But I would ask you, Vish, being the Niners fan, like, could you think of any defensive players that they could maybe ship off in a trade to make that happen that wouldn't make their defense be that much worse? I just am curious the trade packages or how would that happen?
So I think the trade would be solely picks. If the Lions are willing to trade Matthew Stafford, then that means they're looking to rebuild. And Blake brought up the number one point. The only way the Niners are going to get Matthew Stafford is because if Matthew Stafford wants out. The Detroit Lions are an awful franchise. They're one of the worst franchises in the NFL. The only reason they've been relevant and their only redeeming quality is the fact that Matthew Stafford's their quarterback. That's the only attractive thing about a new coach or a new GM coming to that place. You have a very good player who you can win a Super Bowl with set in stone. If they move in, they still have a lot of bad contracts signed by Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, which was like Jamie Collins, Trey Flowers, and players like that who have been given
ex-Patriots,
right, large sums of money for limited amount of production thus far. So then you would say, well, can the Niners really get Matthew Stafford? Because the Lions' new coach then would be coming into a situation where he has to rebuild, but he has to first unload the roster to rebuild. And that means you're coming into a situation where you're given 3 losing seasons just like that. And the Lions historically have not been the most patient with head coaches. So it's not like if you have 3 terrible seasons, you're still going to be guaranteed a job. So there's a lot of variables to go into it. To go to your point about the defensive players, Nolan, if the Niners get rid of Dee Ford, which I think most people are thinking they will save $16 million in terms of cap. That would be huge in terms of giving them money if they got Matthew Stafford or kept Jimmy. And Stafford is is cheaper than Jimmy for the foreseeable future. So there's a lot of variables to look into it. Ultimately, I didn't want to make this too much of a Stafford discussion. This was about Shanahan and his comments about Jimmy. And I think all of us agree that Jimmy is solid. Jimmy is good. There's room to improve. And ultimately, if the Niners can upgrade, they should do it. But otherwise, you still have to keep your options open because Jimmy's competent.